Welcome to my little space where heart and hook stitch up a place where we can together make a refuge safe for all our sake. I'm Aileen. Welcome back. All right, well, so I made this tank top based on another tank top I have, just a regular material like cotton tank top I have that I liked the design of and how it fits. However, just the nature of the crochet and the weight of the yarn has made it stretch out enough that when it hangs on me, like you see a good amount of bra here, this hangs a little too low. I don't mind how low it is in the back. See, it has this deep back. And this part helps it to keep the shoulders on. That was on the original shirt as well. So it is very loosey-goosey. I'll show you how I styled it today over this dress that I have that it kind of matches with. But I'm a little bit torn right now on the lettering. I feel like Protect the Dolls. I was inspired to make a shirt and stitch on Protect the Dolls, but I don't know how neat it looks. I might undo it. I just don't know if I like it. Well, here you have it. I've put it over this dress that it kind of matches with. And you see how it just, if I was wearing this just as a shirt, it cuts in so much right here that you would see my bra. And I really can't go braless with this because you'd see right through. Unless I gave it some sort of lining. But look how cute the back looks with this dress. I think, well, I'm definitely not going to undo the shirt just to make it fit less hanging longy the way it is. But I could keep it literally just to go over this dress. It would probably look good over a lot of dresses that I have. But one thing I'm really not sure about is the lettering. It just pulls the stitches a little funky, and I just think it kind of looks poo-poo-y. Looks kind of messy. I don't know. I'm really torn. I think I loved this until I put the lettering on. So either I need to figure out a different way to do the lettering or a different type of stitch to make this. I did this intentionally with a larger hook than this cotton yarn calls for, so that it would have like a nice drape to it. But that makes it not very structural for putting lettering on. So I don't know. But like, how pretty is the back? This design I think is really pretty, but if I have a regular bra, then it's just like, hey, everybody, look at my bra. So I don't know. I might make just this one. I was about to start making another one, but I might make it different. I might make the back basically the same as the front so that my bra would be covered. And then I'll have to do a few rows less in the straps so that it sits a little higher, and maybe a little bit less on the sides like that, so that it all, basically fits a little more like a regular tank top should. I also, when I first, before I wore it for a little while, I meant it to be a little bit of a crop. So I think it was kind of hitting around here, and then crochet just stretches out. Once you get all the fabric on, or all the stitches on, it weighs itself down. And then after wearing for a little while, it stretches out and it just hangs longer. That's just what crochet does. And I always run into this with garments. That's why I'm not really all that interested in creating patterns for garments for sale, because I don't want to deal with the hassle. I'll just like figure it out as I need to for myself and my customers. And I think that's enough showing off. All right, well, I just watched my 2 video clips back, and watching the video of looking at the shirt on the bed laying flat, I was like, no, the lettering looks pretty good actually. So I think I got out of my head a little bit, and I'm going to keep the lettering. I'm going to keep the shirt exactly the way it is. I'm not going to do any changes because that's more hassle than it's worth. And going forward, if I make any more for myself, I will make adjustments as I need depending on how I want it to fit. But for now, I have this cute little loosey-goosey tank top that I can put over stuff. And I like it over this dress. And I have a few other dresses that it would look really nice over too. So I'm not going to worry about it. And I now have my Protect the Dolls tank. So protect the dolls. One other side note, that is not toilet paper. I realized it looked like toilet paper in my videos. It's thread. That's all. Just in case you didn't know, because I was pretty new to learning this term myself, dolls in this instance refers to trans women who are feminine presenting. So protect the dolls, protect the trans women. They have historically been at greater danger of being attacked and harmed. Maybe this is just the doll maker in me and the person that cares about others, but I don't want to neglect the trans men. I make boy dolls, and I consider Protect the Dolls to be a protection of trans men as well. Well, after having worn that other tank top, the first one I made for the day yesterday, I really did start to get annoyed by how kind of stretched out it was hanging, just sort of like kind of just barely covering. And so I did adjust the pattern for this second one that I'm making. I took 2 extra rows out of the top of these straps on both sides. Here's the back with the V, the low V down the back, and then here's the front. And I just used a bunch of this white, and then I transitioned. I had a little bit of scrap cotton in this kind of caramely color, and I transitioned now to the brown, and I'm going to do the rest in brown. I think I'm going to go 21 rows, but I might change that once I try this on a couple times as I go. I've tried this on a couple times now, and the fit, I'm bonking my mic, but the fit around the straps and around my armpit is much better. I also took 6 stitches out of each underarm section. So it's decreased the pattern quite a bit. And I think I'm crocheting with about the same tension. So after wearing the first one yesterday and after trying this one on, I think I am going to undo that first one. So I'll show you that. I'm going to undo it, reclaim the yarn, and remake it. It's a pretty quick shirt pattern anyway. And then I may just not do any lettering, even though that's initially what inspired me to want to make a few tanks. Either I won't do it at all, or I'll do it a different way. I'm not sure yet, but I'll take you along the process. So right now, I'll finish the last rows of brown for this one, and you can watch it in time lapse. Coming up, you'll see a trip I take to Joann. I did a quick little video scan of the yarn section and what it looks like now at my current Joann. It's all roped off and empty. They did have a couple rows of yarn elsewhere, and all the yarn is now 50% off. But we're kind of going through a gradual process of mourning in different stages here. All right, so check it out. I went to Joann to see if I could find some sort of fabric that had a little bit of stretch to it and that I could cut and it wouldn't fray easily. And I found this perfect one. I also wanted some sort of neutral color that seemed like it could go on the inside of any of these shirts I've been making. And I know that everybody has different color skin, but this is sort of like a medium taupe that I think will hide behind the crochet stitches, probably for any skin tone person. And mostly I really wanted to just make some shirts for myself, for my wardrobe, but this one, which I've finally decided I'm not taking it apart, and I'm going to just try to sell it because I think it's actually perfect as a large to extra large crop tank top. And because they have such a low back, I like to wear this style with no bra. However, you can't do that with all these holes. See, I did the stitches kind of loose just to have a nice drape. So I was going to show you this too. I found this thread at Joann. Going out of business. This fabric was 60% off, minimum cut of 2 yards. So I got 2 yards. This would last me for several shirts, a whole bunch of shirts. And all I'm doing is I cut out this shape to just cover the front chest area. So I'm going to put it with the wrong side facing, I have the shirt inside out. I'm going to put it with the wrong side facing out. That way this nice, really smooth, sleek side will be against the boobies. So I'm just going to hand stitch with this thread, just a little whip stitch around the edge to hold that in place, and I think that will be good. And then I will do the same for this shirt, which I finished last night, and it's perfect for me. I figured out my 2 patterns, I think, one for a small medium and one for a large extra large. And I ended up adding a couple more rows to this after that video because I wanted it just a little bit longer. Doing the other changes made it a little shorter than what I wanted. So there's that. And I have another shirt also in progress already. This may be the smallest amount of yarn I've ever bought at once at Joann. But now they're having their stock of yarn at 50% off. And they do have just a few separate shelves of yarn, separate from where they normally would have the yarn. That section is all roped off now. And I took a little video of that. So I got one of each of these. These were the only 3 colors they had of this big cone of cotton yarn, and they were 50% off now. So I don't remember if I just said that. So these were $8 each. I snatched them, might as well. And then this is the other shirt that I'm about to line. You see I've got this pinned in place, and on the first one I decided, and I'm sticking with it, I like it, to only stitch, I'm gonna whip stitch around here along the top and just down the side to like there. That way this can hang freely along with this. That way both materials can drape to their heart's content, and this isn't going to tug on this if this wants to drape more or less than this. So I'm really excited about this. I might just make a ton for myself and just have that be my top all the time in different colors. So I think this is pretty funny. I totally underestimated how far that fabric should hang down to really feel like you're covered. So because these are kind of a crop style anyway, the shirts are not super long. Like this one just barely covers me when I put it on. So I was like, that's kind of silly. I need to just have a bigger piece of fabric. So I was initially thinking, oh, I need to undo it and cut a new piece, but no, I just cut these exactly from where I initially cut the top piece, and I'm just going to whip stitch them together. And I think it'll be fine. It's a very soft fabric. I don't think it will cause any skin irritation bothering. So we'll see. I'll see how it feels, how the line of stitches feels. But there, that'll be a lot better coverage. And I'll just stitch the 2 pieces together, and then I'll just let that flap hang loose. All right, here is the third of these tank tops that I'm working on. I'll make a listing using the photos of all of these, but I'm thinking that these ones will probably just be mine. And then I'll take custom requests for color combinations, that kind of thing, and I'll use whatever yarns I have or can get my hands on, showing you a little bit of the back because it's a little bit different, because this one is a little bit more scrappy than the other ones, a bunch more yarns in small quantities. This is just a little bit of the shiny yarn that was in the first one that I made. That was just the last of it. And now I have a choice to make. So I had set all of these scraps together in a pile thinking that the colors looked nice together. And so now I just need to decide, do I want to finish it with the bottom few rows in this sort of maroon color or this green? And so this would tie in with that, and this would tie in with that. I like the green better. I'm going to do green this time. It already has a lot of the cool purple. Well, I guess this isn't so cool. This is kind of warm too, pretty warm. But I think I like this tying in with this, the grassy green. All right, cool. Have some coffee with me. I went to Joann today wearing my Totoro shirt, and the lady that checked me out checked out my shirt. She said she loved it. She asked if I had ever been to the Studio Ghibli Museum in Tokyo. I said, no, I've never been to Japan. She said she's been, and it's amazing. So that's just what happened today when I was at Joann, aside from getting some yarn and fabric. And right now I'm weaving in the ends for this third shirt I made in this new design of mine. So like you can see, it's got lots of lots of tails that need to be woven in. Here's the back with the deep V cut, and here's the front. This one was quite scrappy. I like it. We'll see how they look when I get them on and modeled. But I felt inspired today to talk a little bit about something that's been bothering me. When I've been keeping up with politics recently. Well, obviously, since Trump took office, there have been constant headlines. So I'm trying to keep up with it all, keep informed. And the talking point that I keep noticing just in the last few days seems to be incessantly talking about people questioning Trump and his people about, but shouldn't we afford due process to people before they're deported, especially if they're being deported to a prison or a concentration camp, whatever you want to call it. And the thing I keep hearing them say on the other side, the people being asked that question, is, well, if they come here illegally, then oftentimes they don't even finish their sentence. At least Trump usually doesn't even finish his sentence. He just, well, if they're here illegally. Now, the thing that's really bothering me is, how do you know that they're here illegally if they don't have their day in court? And that also assumes, of course, this is like so obvious to me, this is like almost not even worth saying. If it's basically impossible to go through the hoops, or if there aren't any hoops to jump through to be here legally, if they're making those hoops non-existent, then how can they come legally anyway? But that's kind of beside the point I was going to make. But If you're saying that a criminal has no right to due process, then you're saying that every citizen of the United States has no right to due process because you are innocent until proven guilty. And it's plain to see they've already deported citizens, US citizens. We know this already. And they're still making the argument that we are not affording due process to criminal illegal immigrants, right? But the point that that my brain keeps telling me in response to their point every single time is, but how do you know? You don't. And they don't care to check. So if illegal immigrants and criminals are afforded no due process, that literally means American citizens as a whole don't have the rights to due process. Do I think they're going to round me up and deport me? No, I don't. I'm privileged to not have that fear for my own sake. But I do know someone who has to carry his birth certificate around with him everywhere he goes, because even though he is a US citizen, he knows that he has no due process. So, due process means figuring out if you're a criminal. And I'm just repeating myself now, but if we can't figure out that you're a criminal, then we don't know if you're just a upstanding US citizen who pays their taxes. I'm trying to make my videos fun, but I do have, a burning rage inside of me at all times nowadays, this year so far. So anyway, that point has just been stewing in me. If we're going to talk about right to trial, right to defend yourself, you cannot say that a criminal doesn't deserve that right without also saying that every innocent US citizen doesn't deserve that right as well. Because they are one and the same. I keep imagining that I'm a citizen in 1940s Germany, and as a kid learning about the Holocaust, thinking about citizens and how they could just go about their daily lives, knowing that people were being rounded up and taken away. And so I keep wondering how I'm going about my daily life. How am I able to keep going about my daily life? Creating things, recording myself, showing things off, modeling things, trying to make pretty artwork and stuff. I mean, obviously there's not much I can do, but at least I need to speak up. So, I don't know. It's something I can do. I usually kind of become a bit at a loss for words. And I kind of just, I freeze like a deer in headlights. I'm following everything. I'm doing what I can to try to share news. I know it sounds really dumb probably, but like I started turning all my social media platforms into occasional like meme lord platforms where I periodically share a whole bunch of memes, and I'm trying to make it's like sort of a mix of funny, poignant, intriguing memes about being an artist, or just sort of lighthearted jabs at, say, something about politics, as well as like real important points being made by people trying to sound alarms about what's going on. And I feel like that's hopefully a way to try to get more attention for some of the stories that maybe people who aren't following everything as adamantly as I am, so that they will be more interested in clicking and looking through. If the first one is sort of enticing and funny and silly, and I know, as silly as it sounds, I'm trying to kind of spread the word that way. When something really occurs to me that I feel like I need to say, or that's been like living in my brain, I'll share it here. But really, I don't have much I can do. So I feel kind of helpless. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, nose to the grindstone. And and hopefully by sharing with you that I feel helpless, but I'm still trying to do what I can do, maybe you can also feel not so alone if you feel the same way. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you're currently doing to try to fight back, push back a little bit, or inform other people. I haven't gone to any in-person big protests, and all the power to everybody doing that. I should do that at some point for sure. Being in big crowds isn't necessarily my thing. I try to do other things like what I've been doing, but I think there's a role for everybody to play in all of this. That's enough. We are well past golden hour now, and the sun might not be the best for photographing, but I totally forgot that I wanted to photograph my 3 tops this morning, and I just let the morning go by, and then I realized it was way after golden hour. So I got myself ready, and I'm going to do what I can out here. I can always do some editing to try to get the lighting just right. You can see there's a lot of sun rays peeking through because the sun is right up there, a little high right there, but there is a lot of shade right here. We just might have some speckled sunlight. So as you can see, this Protect the Dolls shirt turned out really pretty and cute. I love it. It's just a bit too big on me. It's a little too showy down in the underarm section, but hopefully the right person will find it in my Etsy shop. As for this shirt, I wore it over a dress later that night for a date night, and it was really, really pretty. And this shirt is adorable too. I love them. They are going to be great additions to my wardrobe. So I'll be looking forward to taking some custom orders in various sizes and colors, depending on what people may want. Hi, Willie. I'll welcome you into my crazy little office again. So right now I've just started another Nana doll. This one is going to be named after Taylor Swift. I've never been a Swiftie. The stuff I've heard I think is fun. I've never purchased any of her music, but they are catchy tunes. But I like how she spoke up politically. So there's the beginning of a leg, and I sorted my yarns to do kind of like a sunrise type of vibe. So I've got yellows and oranges and pinks and reds, and then greens and blues, because I'm thinking like sunrise over the ocean. So basically I'm just not including purple for the most part, and gray. I am including some browns because that's kind of like a earthy too. So then I'm doing one row of each yellow and then one row of each pink. So there will be kind of color blocked sections, but I think it's going to be really pretty. And then, so this bag is one that I've stored cotton yarn in that is, so some cotton yarns that say they are size 4 are quite thick compared to a bunch of other cotton yarns that say that they are size 4. So those shirts that I've just been making, I've been using cotton yarns that are about size 4. Some of them say 3, but they feel like a 4, but they are on those 4s are on the thinner side. These 4s are on the thicker side. So I keep them separate because in my mind, they're different sizes. So what I'm going to do is, even though I have the stitch counts and my pattern created for the larger size shirt, I'm going to attempt to make my pattern for the smaller size shirt with this thicker yarn with a larger hook and see if that ends up being a good size for size large as well. So then I'll have 2 different ways to make the large depending on which yarns I want to use. So at the moment I've pulled out 2 color combinations, some pink and white and gray, and some earthy camo type stuff. So these, and I also kind of was specifically grabbing for smaller amounts so that I can kind of use up some scrap bits. This I have a good amount left of. I actually just threw away the last wrapper for this, or label for this, but this is actually viscose, and I think it's really pretty. The label says that it's from France, and it says recommended for dry clean only, but I would just say hand wash, cold water, lay flat to dry, be gentle with it. So it is a natural fiber, so I'm going to include it with these cottons. And we'll see how that goes. Pardon me for the audio quality changing. I didn't bring my microphone with me. I'm away from home, but here's another top I just finished. This is the back of it. It totally kind of blends in with this blanket that's on the bed here. But the other thing that I wanted to show you is this yarn that I finished rolling this into a ball. I had a big skein of it that needed to be rolled up into a ball. This is viscose from France, and I wanted to show you what I pulled out of it as I rolled it into a ball. So viscose, if you don't know, is yarn or material made out of wood pulp, and this must be a really rustic one. I had gotten this secondhand, I think in a big bulk buy on eBay, and I think it's just a really rustic kind of what's the word, fancy yarn, but it's fancy because it's like, it's got, you know, they didn't get the yarn super refined. So as I roll it into a ball, I pull out any obvious chunks of splintery pieces of wood, and then as I crochet anything else that needs to be pulled out, I'll pull out. But there you go, it's an all natural fiber. I will include this along with some cotton in my next top. And boom, like magic, it's done. I think this turned out really pretty. It's got a nice drape to it. The various cottons along with the viscose, they work well together. They all drape nicely. The viscose has a little more drape, so it's at the bottom. Okay, this was noteworthy for me. This one clip that I shared as promotion of one of my YouTube videos got 39,342 views, and it's already more than that, I'm sure now. And then this other photo, just a single photo that I shared on Instagram, got almost 70,000 views by the other day. I basically never get views like that. That one skirt, I posted that picture like near the end of last year, and it's still getting views. So I don't know why those 2 posts exploded more than anything else, but I'm still kind of waiting for my big break in social media so that I can gain a little more exposure for my shop and ultimately do a better job at marketing my stuff and selling my stuff. I've got one leg of Nana Taylor done so far, and now I'm going to make the second leg. And I just thought I'd show you my spread. Right now I'm spread out across the floor. I have them kind of in an order. So this will start the next leg here. I can't angle my camera properly. I have them all kind of in an order that I want to do them in. So I'm just going to begin the next leg here with you watching. And I'm only going to do a little bit because I'm also recording with my phone, and the phone also has my pattern on it that I'm following. This is not my own pattern. This is a pattern somebody else wrote. It is available for free online. I have information on how you can find that in the description box. I've had trouble finding it again in English, but I did initially find it for free online in English, so I don't know how to find it again. What I found was in German, but I know that there are, and I linked to it, there are, oh shoot, I don't have my scissors here. I'll be right back. I'm back. There are some tutorials on YouTube for free as well for following this, for learning this pattern for these Nana dolls that I've been doing. Sorry for the jingle jangle of the bracelet. Or actually, I'm not sorry. Sorry for the squeak of the chair though. So that was a long-winded way of telling you basically though that I didn't write this pattern and I don't have it completely put to memory because it's a bit involved of a pattern. And I only know some parts of it by heart. So I'm starting off with the foot because I can get to the top of the ankle before I need my pattern from my phone, which I'm also using as my camera right now. So I thought I'd go ahead and get, my hook just keeps spinning. I thought I'd go ahead and get a little video clip on here. I'm back home. I was away for the weekend at my partner's place. And I've been making those new tank tops that I came up with like crazy. So I'm going to have several more of those to photograph. This is my hand spun fancy yarn I'm using in this foot. I'm grabbing yarns as I go from my little floor lineup here. I'm doing one row of each as it kind of transitions from one color group to the next. And since all of my yarn ends are going to, all my knotted ends are going to be inside the doll, I just trim them short as I go. So that way they don't get in my way as I'm crocheting. And they also can go to my yarn scraps yarn down the line. Or eventually possibly more of my scraps filled ornaments. So now I'll just be counting as I crochet a few rows. Hang out with me while I crochet a few rows. And now while I'm crocheting is a perfect time for a little story time. And I was just reminded of this today. because of a comment I got on a May the 4th post I made. May the 4th was yesterday, so today is Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo, belatedly, because this video will be posted tomorrow on the 6th. Anyway, that's beside the point. Several years ago, before I ever started an Instagram, when I was only marketing on Facebook, I decided to try out a project where I was going to call out for my followers and customers who followed me on Facebook to help me design a doll. I just wanted to go, okay, I've got a completely blank slate. What color should we make the skin? Should we make a boy doll or a girl doll? What color should we make the hair? What kind of hairstyle should we do? So I just started posting prompts, and people started posting suggestions. So anytime there were conflicting ideas, I went with whatever the majority seemed to be saying. Whatever color scheme ideas were the most prominent, I went with those. Somebody suggested Princess Leia buns for the hair, and then other people suggested, well, why don't we do a full-on Princess Leia outfit? So I did that, and it ended up being a really cool African looking or African American looking, I don't know, doll of our version collectively of a Princess Leia doll. And I even spread out all of my skin tones, and everybody voted on which one they wanted, and I went with whatever the most common one was. And she had like jewel tones in her outfit and gold, and somebody said she should have a lightsaber. So anytime somebody suggested an addition, I included that. And we ended up with this awesome Princess Leia doll. And one of the ladies who was involved with that process ended up purchasing it. I ended up getting a customer who was interested in another one, but she said she wanted a darker skin tone. So I showed her my skin tones, and she selected one, and we decided on everything, all the details she wanted, slightly different color for the outfit, and I made the doll, and then she said she didn't like it anymore. So she thought that the skin looked too dark, even though she had decided on it initially by looking at pictures of the yarns all together. So that made my heart sink for sure. I posted a picture of it on my Facebook, and I was just like, I had to vent a little bit. Like, I just made this whole doll. You know, all the details were confirmed, but she's not happy with it. So I feel I have to refund her. And now I've just got this doll. So if anybody's interested, and my friend from back in the day, they saw my post and they just had to have it. So they bought it like right then and there. And I was super pleased. I mean, it took quite a disappointing situation, and now I have this fond memory. And it's not the doll in my recent posts. That was the original doll. My recent May the 4th posts was my original doll that we had come up with together. I had trouble tracking down the picture. I'm sure I have it somewhere, of the Leia doll that I made with the darker skin and the slightly different colors for the outfit. But anyway, yeah, my friend, they commented underneath my recent May the 4th post and said they still love my Leia doll. So, yay! There's a foot. And it's a bit wild looking with that fuzzy yarn, but that will be, occasionally there will be some fuzzy yarns used just in a row of this doll. And now I need my pattern. So I'm going to say goodbye to this video clip. And I'm looking forward to getting this next chapter edited. I can't believe this is already chapter 9 of A Threaded Reverie. Thank you for joining me. Please subscribe. Crochet hooks and colors bright, crafting wonders day and night. Join the fun, come see it through. Subscribe and I'll create for you.